Hello, Bridie. You're very, very welcome. Thank you so much for being with me for the Empathic Leadership Summit. I'm so happy to have you here. How are you today?
I'm grand, and thank you so much for having me here today. I'm so excited for this and to
Um,
get to meet all the lovely people as well.
I know amazing people. I've managed to somehow attract in amazing voices for this summit. I'm so happy about it. Tell us a bit about yourself, your background, and the incredible work you're doing.
Thank you, firstly. Um, so I work with women's health brands and businesses around the world. So whether they're businesses, startups, charities, product developers, and I really help them put the business side in their idea. So they tend to be women's health experts, so they know their area really well. Maybe it's menopause, maybe it's chronic pain, but they need help with the business side. So that's where I come in. My
Yeah.
background is in the charity and academic sector, working in public health and women's health. And so I'm bringing all of that with me to really help support these absolute life-changing brands and businesses in the work that they do.
Oh my God, I always get goosebumps when you tell me about your work. I just think it's so essential. It's amazing. So, I mean, it's pure empathy at work, really. So, tell
Mm.
me about your experience of empathic leadership, or maybe a lack of it in your experience in your career.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure most of us here have experienced lack of
Yeah,
empathetic
this is it.
leadership. And I think it hits doubly hard if you are an empathetic, sensitive, kind-hearted, whichever phrase you want to use, person. It like the wound hits harder when you experience a lack of it. And it has definitely changed my experience of some places that I've worked. And then it's also made me realize just how key it is in everything that I do. But also on the flip side, you can have too much and how to put those boundaries and barriers in place. So I kind of went from experiencing not having it to then almost being too much of it because I didn't want anyone else to experience it. And now I've found somewhere in the middle.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
brilliant, Jen. It's such a key point, isn't it, to have the balance and the boundary.
Mm.
Where is that sweet spot so that productivity is still there? You
Yes.
know, where is the sweet spot, do you think? What's the answer to that one?
Oh, that's a jolly good question.
Isn't
I
it?
mean, I've
What
got,
we're all feeling into it.
yeah, I've got, I mean, I work, everything that I do and the people that I work with are all doing things that kind of put you in your feels. The other day, I was working with a company and they've developed a new cervical smear device that is going to increase the rates of cervical smear tests
Mm,
in sub-Saharan Africa. And it
incredible.
is really
Wow.
hard to not leave those conversations and just feel that, the world is a little bit heavier after those, but also lighter as well because there's somebody doing something about it.
Yeah.
And for me, it's almost scheduling in time to have a breath after such meetings. A walk, I watch comedy, I listen to comedy podcasts now, and just a 20-minute episode after things like that. And I schedule it in. So my Calendarly will not book another meeting in for half an hour after each meeting, just to allow myself that time.
Fantastic. I'm the exact same, actually. I
Ah,
absolutely take breaks between because I think you're feeling into a certain energy, a certain person, and you have to give yourself a chance to recalibrate, is how I would
yeah,
always kind of call it, to catch back up with yourself. So yeah, we do the same thing. That's fantastic.
yeah.
So purposeful profits. Talk to me about I mean, it's a fantastic phrase in itself because I know from my own experience and from working with lots of highly sensitive and empathic people and creative people and change makers,
Mm,
that we are so passionate about what we're doing that sometimes when we get to the point of like, well, is this profitable or not? It
mm.
can feel a bit like, oh, this is kind of unfamiliar territory for a lot of people. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, and there's also this weird paradigm, for want of a better word, of it feeling taboo to make money from doing something good.
Yeah.
And especially in women's health, where it's quite often quite critical services and products and interventions that people are developing, the idea of making something commercial off somebody's ill gain, but actually they're making them better, it is a weird adjustment.
Mm.
But I'm really trying to give the word profit some new PR and be
Excellent.
like, profits in the hands of good people doing good work. It just gives them more fuel to do that good. And money does make the world go round.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we wouldn't, we would be able to meditate the world better. And unfortunately, we can't.
Mm.
And there is a dose of realism that has to come in, but also it doesn't have to feel icky. It doesn't have to feel wrong. Just think of it as something beautiful to help you do your good work. But often they struggle so much with, but this should be for free. And
Mm.
so I always say to the women's health founders, if you're using the word should in how you're designing your business model, then maybe you should be an NGO or a community interest group.
Yeah.
Unless you can put in the work to make that shift out of should and towards profit, then, and some of us can and some of us can't. But
Yeah.
it's a decision, it's a crossroads.
It is. It must be a crossroads for a lot of people because
Mm.
it rings true in my own experience. I remember someone saying to me once, "Well, are you running a business or are you running a charity?" Like
Mhm.
just like you've described. And it really hit me. Now, this was early
Yeah.
days. I was much younger and I was just kind of full of enthusiasm and
Yeah.
passion and, getting out there, getting into the world. Um, and I had to take a step back and think about it that like, if I'm putting all of my energy out there, I need to get paid for it. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? And
Otherwise, how can
that's,
you keep doing the work?
yeah, but that's a tough thing for people who are altruistic, who are extremely empathic, who feel they're on a mission.
Yeah.
It's tough for them. And what's your best advice for finding that the niche that is going to sit well with someone?
Well, there's a few like frameworks that I talk and walk them through to help them, because quite often with people who are purpose driven and passionate, they see all the problems and they want to solve all the problems of all the different solutions and offers. And so quite often I see women's health businesses or any health or purpose driven business with a whole suite of products and offers to solve this problem, but yet they're still not making money. So they may have a full Shopify store, but yet the back end, the bank account isn't rolling.
Mm,
And
okay.
if you're solution focused and not customer transformation focused, that's one of the sort of warning signs that you can see that's going on. So I always say you have to have one core person, one core customer with one core health problem. So in our space, it's women's health. Then you're going to take them on one transformational process. So from what A to what B, and then you're going to name and brand that process. And that's going to be your one and only product.
Okay.
And you just keep it really simple, really strong. And you do that for 1 year to 3 years. And it will absolutely transform. So if you're listening to this and you're stuck, try this process. And it can help transform you for the next 1 to 3 years.
Wow. I absolutely love that because I find myself when I'm coaching my clients and they have like, say, and it's not necessarily that they're in the health space, but they're creating something or innovating on something and they have 10 different ideas. It just seems so hard for them to choose between them. And I always say, yeah, but you're not choosing. You're just saying what needs my attention first. What am I doing now? So that makes perfect sense. Like you have to have a strong few years ahead of you to be able to develop the rest. Isn't that right?
And then you bring them in. Think of it as your 4 table legs for you
Right.
to then be able to strongly stand on and move forwards in. And what I would say is that quite often entrepreneurs and problem solvers, we're creative, we have all these ideas. So if you do have a whole list of digital products, physical products, services, whatever it may be, list them out. And this could become your content plan. So you can still talk about these things and feed it into your product, right? But maybe this is a content plan, because there's something called product market fit, but there's also something called content market fit.
Okay.
And you might actually be coming up with content ideas rather than product ideas,
Mm,
and you could categorize them. So you're not losing them. You can still talk and be in that area, but it all still points and funnels towards your one strong table.
okay. That's amazing. And is that what you do with your clients in your community?
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. Yeah, that and networking and other masterclasses. So I bring in other experts such as lawyers and IP people to really give them that bespoke expert advice. We've got AI coming up. Everyone loves the AI.
Yeah.
But I think in women's health, quite often people want, and in businesses where it's kind-centered, people want to use AI, but they don't want it to look like it's AI.
Mm,
Nobody wants to see that. They want the person. We want human connection.
absolutely.
And so it's a really interesting way of putting it on the back end, but not on the front.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And I think as well that those of us that are maybe that bit more sensitive, more empathic, you know, we're going to see it very quickly, although maybe everyone does. You know, it's becoming quite common now, is that you can kind of recognize what the AI generated copy is and that kind of thing.
I don't like it, do you? Like, it gives me this, it unsettles me. I want to see
Yeah.
the person and connect with the
Yeah.
person.
Yeah, absolutely. But I suppose I have to say from the back end,
Yeah,
I use it
fantastic.
all the time. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's so
brilliant.
helpful. And I have,
Yeah,
you know, I have done the prompting so that it knows me a bit.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? So
yeah,
that it's not this left field,
yeah.
strange content that's coming out. But I do think it's very useful to speed things along. Would you agree?
Oh, definitely, but you
Yeah.
don't have to be a robot on a dragon in a LinkedIn post. Do you know what I mean? It's like you just keep seeing. I don't know what's going on. But I think in empathetic leadership as well, we just want to see a human being with all the faults, with all the failures, with all of the things that happen. We don't want squeaky, shiny, perfect. And there's almost a responsibility if you're in leadership in a purpose-driven, heart-centered place, health space, whichever it may be, to be human, warts and all,
Mm.
and to show up that it's okay, because you have a responsibility to advocate for warts and all kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely. You have to be that role model and allow space for people to also be human. You know,
Yeah.
isn't that it? And it's so simple when you say it, when we say it out like this, isn't it?
Mm.
But yet it seems that it's not being implemented in 99% of organizations,
No, no. And
you
it's
know?
funny, it's always the charities, and you'd think they'd be all soft and lovely, but they're some of the harshest environments I've ever worked in.
Right, okay. Tell us a bit about that then. Isn't
Well,
that funny that you'd think it would be a very empathic space?
yeah, no.
Ah, okay.
No, it appeals to empathic people because they care about the thing. Excuse me, I've got something stuck in my throat. Excuse me.
That's
And
okay.
but I think in a charity, the culture is, because it's a charity, you give extra, you work longer, you give more.
Okay.
And so everybody just ends up burnt out as if they're working in Silicon Valley.
Mm,
And there's not really a culture of caring for the people inside. It's
right.
just external, so it doesn't reflect in, it reflects
Yeah,
out.
but it kind of blows my mind that it doesn't naturally flow internally when the very mission of that team of people externally is so heartfelt and so humane.
Yeah, I'm not saying all charities, but some
Fair
of the
enough.
experience that I've had and some of the founders that I've had have come from charity sector and gone, oh my goodness, oh, I'm leaving that and I'm creating my own space and way of
Right.
working that is kind and caring, and actually these two words are not weak, they're strong.
Yeah.
The results that you get from leading a kind team are phenomenal. Like, there's data to back that up.
Mm.
And I think profits and kindness both need new PR to come
Mm.
together in this new paradigm and way of working.
Absolutely.
In a way, it's our secret tool, right?
100%, and that's what I'm
Yeah.
always talking about, leveraging. I love that. Leverage these incredible skills and
Mm.
strengths that come naturally to so many of us, that come naturally to most people. Like most people are compassionate people,
Yeah.
you know, and then if you add in the HSPs or the empathic people,
Mm.
the highly sensitives, the people who are more connected just because of the way that they are, like they're 20 to 30% of people.
Yeah.
I think I love the way you're saying this new paradigm, and let's like give the stage to these words and give them some new energy because it's there. It's just about implementing it.
Yes, it is. And it's funny, like, how do you do it? Because everybody these days, you need a personal brand, and this summit's all about leadership, and everybody here will have crafted some form of personal brand for
Yeah.
themselves. But all of the successful personal brands out there, and I'm sure you've seen this too, especially ones then that reach this point of influence and leadership and thought leadership, they all look the same. They're all cookie cutter.
Mm.
And I find myself falling into it. I find it quite interesting.
Well,
But what does the branding and PR of kind, supportive, empathetic leadership look like? Because
mm.
I think we think, oh, it should be all peach and fuzzy and unicorns. Can it look strong? I find the discussion really interesting. I don't know the answer. If anyone's listening and has any thoughts, please do comment and like
Exactly.
share, because I think it's a really interesting discussion, because I don't see this in existence at the moment.
I suppose isn't it the combination that's come up in some of the other talks, the combination between the masculine and feminine energies, the drive and the logistics and the planning, alongside guidance and intuition and connection, and that somehow we associate business very much so more with that masculine side of things.
Yeah.
And it's not masculine, feminine, men and women. It's
No.
the two sides of energy, that flow that needs to be balanced, I think, to
Mm.
achieve empathic leadership. Because you still have to lead, you still have to put boundaries there in some shape or form.
Mm.
So what's your thoughts on all of that?
Well, I'm going to be contrarian here, Sinead.
Okay,
I
go
don't
for
know
it.
if I agree with the masculine feminine energy.
Okay.
I don't know. It's something I've always struggled with. I find it interesting, and I can see how it does exist as a way of narrating this space. But I
Mm.
almost feel like there's like a new blurring of lines.
Mm.
And I almost think that they're needed also to create this new space to
Yeah.
move
Point.
forwards. Because you see the women showing up, for example, on LinkedIn and places, like Cody Sanchez, Lara Acosta, and they are showing up, you would say, in the like tech bro vibe, and they're smashing it.
Mm.
But they are still really sharing human, real stories. But on the skin of it, it looks like a Stephen Bartlett, if you see what I mean.
Right.
I
Yeah.
find the
Yeah.
whole thing very interesting. Um,
Right. Yeah. So they're playing with it. They're
yeah,
playing and mixing the energies
yeah,
together.
and
Mm.
it's working. And to a
Mm.
degree, look at me, I'm here in a black jumper. I'm playing with it too, because
Right.
I find it interesting to see how then people respond. And if it works, am I comfortable with it? Am I not? I still don't know. I'm one of these like endless experimenters that will try and
Fantastic. Yeah.
find how it sits.
Scientist.
Yeah, but it's definitely an interesting space now. I feel like we're on the cusp of something new in
Yeah.
empathetic
I agree
leadership.
with you. I agree with you. And I think I can kind of sense that. And even as this summit, the energy around this is building, you can just tell that everyone is hungry for this conversation. There's
Yeah,
an appetite there, I think.
definitely.
So, hopefully we'll reach more and more people and expand that conversation.
Yeah.
Amazing. I always love chatting to you, Bridie. You always make me think just a little bit differently, which I absolutely
Okay,
love.
that's good.
Um, so when you're talking about profit and kindness, tell us
Mhm.
a bit more about the content market fit you mentioned, and how
Mm,
that maybe helps you to be the empathic business leader.
definitely. And I think this is one of the little magical injections that you can make in your business if you're an empathetic leader. Oh my goodness, Sinead, I can't speak. I still have my COVID brain.
Oh
Um,
God, you poor thing.
people put so much effort into finding and crafting their offer and their product. And then and this can be transformational for people, really important, purposeful product and offer. And then quite often people go and consult with a marketing guru to craft their messaging. And that messaging, normally marketing messaging, gets crafted in alignment with their business plan and their business goals. And then there ends up being a disconnect between the product offering and the marketing, the content that's spoken about. So my advice is always take your product and the decision-making tree that you've crafted of the problem it solves and the transformation it makes and who the person is and what the problem looks like. And you approach crafting your content as if in the same vein that you crafted the product and the offering. It takes the same creative thinking. You've got to step into their shoes. You've got to speak to them and just create a spreadsheet and just talk to them. But with stepping into those shoes and those boots, those same ones that allowed you to create the product. Then you can hand that to a social media agency.
Okay.
They can do the final tweaks with the call to action and the hook and those things.
Yeah.
It's going to take the same brain, the same person that created the product to make the content market fit. Otherwise, there's a disconnect between sales and product.
Wow, I love the way you've described that, because I've seen that so many times and I've experienced it myself in business, where it's kind of like, oh, why is this a disconnect? Like I thought I had this thought through, but it's when the true voice is lost along the way somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. So connect that in before handing it off.
Yeah, you just need to stay on the train a bit longer, almost.
Stay on the train a
Don't
bit
step
longer.
off.
Amazing. And what about you and your content? What's your approach to your content? Do you enjoy it?
Right. I love to write. So I have
Great.
a 9-step plan that I do every Monday. So it's true geeky out style. So every Monday I schedule it out and I write my newsletter that goes out every Wednesday, the Wednesday Women's Healthpreneur. And you read it in 5 minutes, and at the end it solves a problem. It gives you a breakdown of how to do it. So every week you can move forward in your business. Then I take that newsletter, it's normally about 1,000 words, it's long. And then I break that down into 10 pieces of LinkedIn content, so 2 posts a day. Then I find the key bits and then I break that down into 10 tweets. And then I take that and I take it into 10 Instagram stories.
Wow.
I do that every Monday and then I schedule it in.
Wow, that's
There's a
fantastic.
theme for each week. So then when someone comments on the post on Wednesday, you can then post the link to the post that went out on another day and it links. And it just makes this web, this stronger web in your content every week.
Okay, wow, that is amazing. That's fantastic strategy. Really love that. I'm still thinking about it. Oh, that's brilliant.
You write it once and chunk it down, basically.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. Fantastic advice for anybody, for any business owner that's trying to get a message out there. Okay, so tell us, to wrap up here, tell us just as a leader within your own community, how do you ensure that empathy is there, or what tips might you have for someone in a similar position that's leading a community?
Going to be annoyingly intangible, but listen to your gut. You have to listen to your gut. It will speak to you so loudly, just like the pull to be an entrepreneur. You have to listen to it. And not just that, you have to action on it and flex that muscle. And the more you do it, the easier it will get. But 99.9% of the time, it's never wrong.
Yeah.
And then you can't beat yourself up afterwards, etc., etc. And that can be whether it's a partnership, say no to clients. But yeah, listen to your gut. That's my big piece of advice.
Fantastic. I love that. A lovely note to end on. Do you have a resource for our attendees today, or a little gift?
I do.
You do. Fantastic.
Don't know why I went all southern then. It is a tool and a guide to help you find your profitable niche in women's health. And it also has 80 trending niches in women's health in there as well for you, broken down over the different areas of women's health.
Wow.
And it has my decision-making tree in there as well to really help you.
Fantastic. Oh my God, that's an amazing resource. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for your time and your energy today. A pleasure talking to you, Bridie. I always learn something every time that I speak to you. So thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And it's been an absolute joy as always, Sinead.
Fantastic, Bridie. Thanks a million. See you later.
Bye.